Yo, it's ODB from OLP. This is issue 123 of Mini Truckin Magazine, March 2002. We got a lot to talk about. This is the first one that I'm doing since Mini Nats 2023, and wow, it was an amazing show. We'll talk about that in an upcoming episode of OLP. Check us out via any podcast app. Just search OLP or Our Lifestyle Podcast. So, Daryl Logan's 98 Chevy S-10. It's got the license plate that we've seen in some of the show coverage, Truckin 20s. And basically the centerfold title is The Rebirth of Slick. This is the 7th Severtized truck to grace the cover of Mini Truckin Magazine. Fun fact, as I mentioned in the last flip through, Arelli wheels were on a total of 4 covers, including this truck. And this is back-to-back covers for Arelli wheels. So good stuff. Sharon Benson is the model. And we'll jump into the feature now. Stick with me to the end. I'm going to show you a gem at the very end that ties into the back cover of this issue. And I can't thank my friend enough. So without further ado, let's jump into the issue. Again, if you can watch these all the way through, leave a comment, share it with the homies, anyone that you would appreciate or that you would think that would appreciate this content. One of my favorite photos right here. You see Daryl Logan's name mentioned, 98 Dime, Sharon Benson, and then, of course, Wes Allison gets the photo credit. He's well over 30 covers at this point, as you guys have heard me say a couple of times. You got the Hardbody, Taco, Ranger, good mix, and you got KingTuk in this issue when he was rolling with Magical Minis. You have Scrub Line from Lance. Again, you see a little bit more color, and I do believe, is that Lance's graphic? Or maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. But again, pretty cool. Again, art director or whoever that position was that I mentioned recently. They did spice it up a little bit with some of the content there. Definitely appreciate all the insight. I had some of the homies at Mini Nats saying, hey, an upcoming issue, such and such is going to happen, or you're going to see that, and do, this and that. Dude, I love it. Thank you guys. Chime in here if you've got intel. You guys know I love it, and I appreciate it. Now, the one bad thing about not pulling these out, let's just see if we get a perfect. Perfect, there you go. Without removing these, is you got this eyesore in the middle, but this is KingTuk, built to drive, Donnie and Shellie. I'm not going to attempt their last name. They were in Magical Minis at the time. They're in Severed. And this truck, I believe they recently sold, going from memory, I think this is the topless truck now, and it's now in Committed, I think. And it's awesome. I think I saw it at LST. I say I think, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm 90% sure, but sometimes I'm wrong on stuff, so I want to leave a little bit of wiggle room in there. KingTuk there. This truck was also featured and or on the cover of Tailgate, I believe. A little fuzzy on some of it. Maybe it's from an awesome weekend. Another awesome weekend. You can see their Magical Minis again. I've got a chance to meet the homie a couple times, including when I went to the Pacific Northwest back in 2019. Met a lot of good people up there. Just try not to rip the pages, ODB. 2001 Carlisle. So this is a big show for many in the Midwest, including Ohio. Shout out to Johnny Garage Johnson, the big homie. I know he was resharing a bunch of content. He's a hardcore S-10 guy, like he likes to say, and I'd encourage you to check out his channel if you can. It's free. Hardcore Minis. Or, excuse me, Hardcore Garage. Oh, man, I'm really on a roll today. It's one of those days. 2 Extremez, I think, right? Is that how you say it? And this is a super cool Tacoma. Low, clean. You didn't really see a lot of Tacomas rolling with a wall like that. Pretty awesome. And this was Kirk Miller. Repping NC. You can see the NC logo on the front. Looks good shaved. These trucks have just an awesome body line here, especially when it's shaved. And then you've got the body line in the bed. Very, very classy. Love these Tacomas. But wait, there's more. Take a look at the bed. And just a full-blown show truck, man. Love it. And that's something that would easily deserve a feature. So here you have flexing from 100 feet away. Finnegan installing MIC's wireless speed bag controller. Wireless has been around a long time, even before the AccuAir app and some of that stuff that we see today, airlift and whatnot. Speaking of air suspension, there's Vair, an old ad. They've got, when Morgan was there, she used to always talk about the market share that Vair has. It's a huge market share. And you go, well, what else is there? There's the other brand that no one really uses. There's belt-driven compressors, which is a small share. And then you have nitrogen, which I think is probably smaller than belt-driven these days. But Vair wins. There you go, FBI. One of the guys I know used to work there at, Fender Bender Incorporated. And this was Fast Bagged International. I don't know if that was, now that I think about it, maybe that was a spin-off. Do you guys know? Leave a comment. Appreciate that. Love this S-10. I got a chance to see this a couple years ago. It was at Brandt's shop at Graphic Disorder. We were up there for the open house during Mini Nats. There's the guy, he passed away. That was in Acro years ago, unfortunately. Here is, was it Ryan Cochran? And I've talked a little bit about his truck. You could see there when that paint color was very hot at the time, but I loved how the seats, maybe that's not. God, it's so hard to tell. Is it? Is it not? Wasn't his a Cab Plus? I don't know. Maybe I should start this one over. It's been a hazy weekend, and it was good. It was a great weekend. I take that back. I don't think that's his truck, but the color reminds me of it. That's what it was. You can see I'm having a good time here. You can see Charles right here, I believe. Of course, guys checking out Time Machine. Talk about nitrogen. This was an era when nitrogen was gaining some steam. That's a crazy setup. What do you guys think of this setup? Not dissing it? Maybe not loving it? Just talking about it. That's a crazy setup. This was in the era of hopping. And Finnegan actually mentions that. And then here is that Nissan Hardbody that we saw on the cover when they did the group photo. Awesome, awesome truck. Okay, yellow Submarine rolling low to avoid the radar. And this thing is pretty awesome. Amarillo, Texas. This was Chris Reeves. And definitely an awesome truck. I don't think Hardbodies get enough love. This thing is perfect to me. The stance. These interiors, I always liked them, especially when they were tweed. And you can see there, club affiliation, stressed environment. Definitely not a stressed environment driving this awesome truck. If you like what we're doing here, leave a comment. It helps us out. You can see they put the Nissan logo in there in the hood. This was in the era of raised hoods. Someone recently had mentioned, you know, why were the guys, you know, why wasn't there a hood on Ballistic originally and this and that? And a lot of it had to do with, like, now trucks are body dropped a little bit different. They're not always channeled, or the floors aren't always raised and things like that. Sometimes the motor mounts are dropped. Sometimes the front is Z'd. You know, there's different reasons, I guess. I'm not a fabricator, but certainly been around it a long time. But you would see those mods in the early to mid 2000s. You still see them a little bit with the hood scoops. Matt and I talked about them. He did a good bit of them on some trucks. I mean, they looked awesome. They started, you know, they were kind of bigger, and then the hood scoops got a little bit more subtle. I believe this truck has one too. It's hard to see there. I believe it does. But let's jump into the Rebirth of Slick. Check out this truck. This truck is awesome, isn't it? Look at that truck. This truck is really awesome. I love it. Daryl Logan's 98 S10. Super low. You can see reborn and flat as hell, meaning that, boom, this thing is laid out flat. It really is. It's got the newer style front end at that time. with the valence all painted. You got the chrome accents, the wheels, the rag top, the clear windows, I think are kind of the icing on the cake. And you get this awesome feature. Pretty cool stuff. You got big time threads on the, it's going to be hard to see because it's yellow, but shout out to Adam. This was a Severed truck, as I had mentioned, the 7th Severed truck to be on the cover. And Finnegan does the interview. Wes Allison shoots it, and Finnegan asks him something about getting sponsors, and he says, I don't know, ask Craig Elder, he's good at that. This is a cool setup to me. Again, the theme of the black, or the theme of the yellow, carries through. The black, of course, on the rag top, but in the interior, I like the piping, the accents. I mean, it was a very well executed truck is the best way I think I can say it. Engine bay looked good. You got the AC still in there with the big wheels. Everything's there. That was a big thing, you know, trying to kind of retain as many creature comforts as you could with going with the bigger wheels. And I know, like, today, you know, 20s don't sound crazy big today, but, you know, in some trucks, you know, laying a truck on 20s was a lot of work. And still is, you know, in some examples, but, you know, certainly on an S10 in this era, thing was very classy, very nice, awesome cover by Wes Allison. So you got a guy named Brent with a Z, last initial Z. And do you know what truck this is? The original owner of Far From Losing. How do we knew that? Well, a couple ways. I look at the front here. I always forget the guy's last name. Z-U-E. Zuhike. Mesa, Arizona, I believe, right? And look at the front setup. We can see right there, there's no engine. There's no engine. And those airlines and whatnot are exactly like what Far From Losing ended up being. So pretty cool stuff. Now, let me know if I'm incorrect in this. You can see it's actually hitting 3-wheel. So pretty cool stuff there. And you can see where it looks like they're going to put the rear engine. I believe this is it. Yeah, because it's getting a VW engine. So for those that didn't know, I look back at some of this stuff. I thumbed through this one briefly because I just was a little hazy in the head. And it's cool to see this stuff because, you know, it's kind of like going back and watching a TV show years later. You might have been a kid. I went back and watched all the Knight Riders, and God, some of them aren't good, but it brought back, like, hearing the music and things like that. It was pretty cool. So that's what I kind of get sometimes here. Like, you end up seeing things that, like, wow. That happened to me as a kid a lot. Whenever I look back at baseball cards, like 10 years later after I started collecting, I was like, oh, damn, I have, you know, so-and-so's card. I didn't even realize I had that. So anyways, and here you have a David Tish, I think, 88 standard cab, Jackson, Michigan. And super clean. There's been a couple of these trucks like this with the Phantom Grill, and they just, I mean, to me, they're timeless. Even DJ Mays is coming back with Teal Short, the remix version of his truck. And, man, just a regular square S10 like that laid out, Phantom Grill or not, straight fire. Definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us. I know I got a lot of good comments at Mini Nats, people saying, hey, we love the stories and stuff. Hey, I appreciate it. I love doing it. I would just say, hey, I don't know it all. And, you know, I love hearing from you guys. Share it if you can. If you got comments, comment. This S10, I saw one of the baddest, probably most underrated S10s ever. Love this thing. He had the gas filler door, and the driver, you open the door, and you'd unscrew the gas cap. That was a cool mod. Love this thing. The interior was so hot rod themed. Like, before guys were really doing hot rod themed interiors. I think it's spot on. Super sick. There were so many trucks. I wanted to post more at Mini Nats, and I'll be posting more here in our social media, so check us out. This truck, I don't know a lot of history, but I believe Jason Dandler may have knew the guy. Some guys locally knew this guy, and some of you may have saw this at Mini Nats, maybe, back in the day in Pigeon Forge. This was at Nopie. And this truck, I remember hearing stories of it. They're like, yeah, it doesn't even have an alternator. I think they were talking about doing like an alternator that ran off the drive shaft or something. I don't know if that was really what the plan was, but that was some of the buzz that we would hear. And they were going to do like no pulleys on the engine, super minimalistic. But you can see for a Mazda, just that. I mean, that's a sick setup. It looks like right-hand drive, you know, just very minimal, fully shaved firewall. Now, typically you have obviously the steering come through and then the throttle cable coming through. Those are kind of usually two of the things you have to. I think this was the truck maybe that had, I ended up running the under the dash brake booster on my truck. I think this truck may have had it. But it was always intriguing hearing some stories about it because, you know, sometimes trying to push things to the next level, it gives you ideas when you hear people talk about, hey, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I think the only time people would run an alternator off like a drive shaft is like in racing applications or some crazy stuff. I don't even know if people do it. That's what I heard back in the day. If you guys have any light on that, definitely shed it. Life in the fat lane. So Finnegan talks about Juice. Don't forget Juice. Shout out to Bill at Street Charger. This guy's locally. He's a genius, in my opinion. I got to see him at the January 1st Lowrider Cruise In. He still makes street chargers, and a lot of these things from 20 plus years ago are still a thing, and those, of course, help charge the batteries for those low guys with the hydros. But Bill's a cool dude, very talented guy. So this is one HID. You can see right here, HID, high intensity definition or something like that. When that was becoming a big thing on, you know, upgrading headlights. You can see some of the old ads, including... check out Buddy's Garage on Instagram. Many of you guys know him. On Facebook as well. I got a chance to slap hands briefly with him at Mini Nats. It was cool. He's got a lot of old school stuff. Parts he helps people find and stuff he sells. Finnegan? Right? Or no? Did he change it up? I can't remember. This is Finnegan's Falcon. That's what I always remember. Can't remember if that's the exact paint. If they changed it up. But Lance also mentioned in his write-up about... basically 2001 Sema and people asking about, you know, aftermarket, why weren't there more mini trucks? And he kind of just goes into, you know, more people need to build minis, and, you know, some of these guys at these different companies, you know, they're going to shows and they're looking for different things and they're seeing what the trends are. And, you know, many cool little good points he made. One of the Expeditions bodied, laid out. I don't know if this is the one that's bounced around a bunch, that's super low, that had hydros on it, but there's a couple real nice ones out there. Lonnie owns one as well. There's Jay LaRosa's S-10 Sonoma, which someone confirmed to me that I don't think he has that anymore. And somebody was like, yeah, you won't believe what the person that got it, like, made it some weird truck. I don't know. It's stuff I hear sometimes. I wonder. There's Paul Davis's Ombre. I got to see Paul at Mini Nats. Good dude. And we always talk about the Ombre, silver and green. And awesome stuff. Here's that TCM ad we recently saw. Lowdown, Showdown 4. Again, if you think about the different names I've said going back, if you ever are looking to start a show, there's a lot of different words that have been used for a long time over and over in different variations, which I think is cool. And of course, you know, we know Lowdown's been used a bunch. Showdown has been used a bunch. But this is Lowdown, Showdown, so pretty cool. Here you can see the Mazda. The thing is awesome. So clean. So nice. And it had its own little mini feature here with all the photos. Okay, stick with me. We're almost going to wrap up, and I'm going to show you a couple gems. At least one gem. I think you guys will appreciate it. Here you got Down and Dirty. This was David Nicol, Nicol. Super clean Ranger. Rangers don't always get all the love they deserve. Awesome wheel. Super clean. Look at the engine bay. Awesome stuff. I can't believe that we've been through so many issues so far. We're going to keep on keeping on. Definitely appreciate all the subscribers, the new folks jumping on board with us here. Can't thank you guys enough. There's a couple gems here. So This is from Showfest. We can tell from the net right there. I remember taking photos of extensive stuff right here. This was at Showfest as well. We can see the Mississippi plate, so we can see the, you know, the background here if you ever went to Showfest there in Greenville. This is the gem. This is one of the gems. Lance looks like shaking Dale Earnhardt's hand, and you got to remember, being that Earnhardt had passed away back in 2001, was it? In February of 2001. You know, this is March 2002, so I think it's been 22 years maybe since we lost him. But pretty cool that Lance had put that photo in there. You got the drag it. I guarantee that was at Greenville, more than likely. The craziness. You got some of the ladies, the golf cart, or excuse me, the shopping cart. Bankrupt. So there was Les's famous truck that, yeah, this was one of the last iterations. I think it went black after this. But anyways, there's always cool little gems in here. You got to kind of look. And it's good stuff. Okay, so MIC gets the back cover again. You know, they were spending the big bucks, all the advertising. I got 2 gems for you, okay? Well, the first one's a shout-out. These guys gave me this magazine at Mini Nats, and I have not even looked through it. It's Local Rides, R-I-D-E-Z, magazine, issue number 10. So that's pretty cool, and it's super thick. So there's a lot of cool content in here. I've been told. So I'm going to check these out, and I'll let you guys know. Oh, speaking of Greenville, look at that. Greenville, right there. That's a cool centerfold there. So pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to check this out. The guy said, hey, I'm going to give you one of these. Let me know what you think. And that's pretty cool. I said, hey, you got me because you got the Grand Theft Auto font right here. I've used that before on different things. Love it. Last gem. Can't thank my buddy Matt Torgerson enough. I got to see him last week. He started the Severed Florida chapter back in the day. Check this out. I'm the curator now of the MIC valves. They're going to stay on a shelf for a while. The plan is to use them on something I can't talk about. But pretty cool. I've wanted to get my hands on some of these for a long time, and I can't thank Matt enough for letting me do that. Now, if you know of anybody that has one, I think one was bad, or I didn't know the full story, but certainly old school all the way. And I'm thankful for that. And if we look back here, there's the switches, and they had different little deals. I'm assuming this is one that came directly from them, the little housing itself, but pretty cool. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate the support, your friendship, and appreciate all of the viewers out there. Stay on the rise, y'all. Subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to Daryl Logan for building a truly awesome truck. Does anybody know where it's at? Leave a comment if I missed anything. I love hearing from you guys. I want to update the database, get it even more accurate than it is, hopefully. And I can't thank you guys enough. Yeah, chia. Peace.